Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praise, its most high Yahweh, acknowledgement to Earthly Mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High bless this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth, so we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. I'm going to get into a book this evening that supposedly was lost for 300 years. And then in the 1920s, 1930s, this book miraculously shows up. And then it is translated into English. And then about 100 years later, almost, the book is back into our hands. And it shows you what the Spaniards were seeing when they got here. They knew that the people that they were encountering here in the New World were the Israelites, were the lost 10 tribes. And not only do they know this, but they were actually also using the Bible and the Apocrypha to prove these things. And in a couple of the pages we're going to talk about this evening is going to show you that they were well aware of the blessings that the Israelites had when it pertained to their lands. They knew the type of lands that were promised to the Israelites. And we know in the book of Jubilees that the Most High gave Shem and Israel the best lands, the ones with seasons. And he gave the other nations, Ham, right, and Japheth, hot lands and cold lands. So when you see what's written here, you're going to realize that they're well aware of the fact that these lands that they came to here in the Americas and where the vast majority of the population was, with the Israelites that were meeting over here, were in the areas where we were given the blessing. But let's take a quick look here. Description of the Indies, 1620. Now, I think that the people in 1620 would have a much better grasp of who they were encountering. And if they're back in the 1620s, you know that these are the Israelites, lost 10 tribes right here. They have all the same customs as the Israelites. They follow all the same customs. They do all the same things. They follow the feast days. All the stuff that the Israelites did over there, the southern kingdom, the northern kingdom had over here. So like I've been telling you, Columbus knew what he was doing when he got over here. It had to do with they took down the northern kingdom in the first part of 1492, when they took down the Moors and they took down the Jews and they kicked them out, took over the lands. Once they realized they could take down the southern kingdom, they knew the northern kingdom was not far behind. And this is what your churches have been hiding from you. This is why they took the Apocrypha out, because the Apocrypha does not allow them to teach the things that they teach in their churches, but it also shows you that they were well aware that these so-called Native Americans they're finding over here were the Israelites. And that's not necessarily saying the ones that they're saying are natives today. Okay? We got people playing positions, they got people playing parts, and they might not be the regular people. Might be joined to the people, but see, it doesn't even matter at this point. All that matters is truth and lies. Are you supporting the truth, or are you going ahead with the lies? The Bible told you that the sons and daughters of Satan cannot tell the truth. There is no truth in them. So it doesn't matter if you're a son or daughter of Satan. If you are being quiet and you are not cleaving to truth, then you're going to be considered one of the sons and daughters of Satan. It's just that simple. If you're going after and cleaving to the truth, chasing after the Most High, then you can be counted with the Most High's children. But it all depends on your actions today. So right here, description of the Indies, 1620, by Antonio Vasquez de Espinosa. Little part here, the sleeve here. For more than a decade in the early 17th century, a learned Carmelite friar, Antonio Vasquez de Espinosa, lived and traveled throughout Central and South America. He made notes on what he observed of the Indian cultures, the Spanish administration, the geography of the continent, and the plant and animal life. Upon his return to Spain, he set down a detailed description of the Spanish colonies, including the Philippines and Moluccas, as well as a large part of Central and South America. However, only a portion of this major study had been printed at the time of his death in 1630. They don't want this information out. They've been trying to hide it this whole time. They're trying to hide who they found. They're not letting you know that they destroyed the southern kingdom and they came over here and destroyed the northern kingdom, because they already know what's going to happen at the end. They know there's going to be hell to pay, because there's always hell to pay when you mess with the Most High's chosen people, when you mess with the apple of the Most High's eyes, when you steal the jewels of the Most High. There's going to be hell to pay no matter what they say. It says both the printed sheets and remaining manuscript disappeared for more than 300 years. That seems to happen quite a bit with this Catholic Church. Books disappearing, scriptures disappearing, the people disappearing, right? So both the printed sheets and remaining manuscript disappeared for more than 300 years. Then in 1930, Charles Upson Clark discovered the handsomely bound volume in the Barberini collection at the Vatican. Of course, it's going to be at the Vatican, right? Although there was no indication of the author, the work has been attributed beyond doubt to Vasquez. Here is a lively account of everyday life in the Spanish New World of the early 1600s. This is a gold mine of information. And it's just more confirmation that we are the people. We fit the curses. They have been trying to hide who we are this whole time. They went so far as to give our, lands to others. But behind the scenes, they're the ones pulling all the strings. These people have no power. When I was at Chichen Itza, the people that are supposedly the true Mayans, they don't make decisions there. They have no power. They are diminished on the lands that are supposedly theirs. But there's no proof that those are the people that have always been in the lands. They just tell you that. That's what they've always been doing, just telling us who the natives are, who the Mayans are, who the Aztecs are. And if you look, most of the time the pictures are very recent. They're just taking pictures in the 1900s and saying these are the people that have always been there. And that stuff is not going to fly anymore. Are you bringing out some truth? Are they bringing out some truth? Are they waking up in the lands of their captivities? That's what the true Israelites were going to be doing. That's what the Mayans would be doing. The Aztecs, the original people of these lands, they would lose their identity, but they would be awakening here at the end, getting revelation and understanding. And it's not happening with everyone. So we take a look right here. Chapter 49 here. It says, continued description of the same subject and the interpretation of the prophecy with respect to the qualities and characteristics of the Indians. He that sits down within the boundaries, i.e. the Indies, because the most thickly populated part of them lies within the tropics, which is a central part of the globe, and the limits and boundaries are those which God set for the sun, those which it should reach in its natural course to bring light to the earth, and the other benefits which it causes for the welfare of living creatures and plants, right? Without being able to pass beyond the boundaries mentioned. He saw rest, that it was good, and the land was excellent, and for that reason be settled down in it, for it is the best in the world in fruitfulness and charm. And that is what the Most High gave to Shem. And this is talked about in the book of Jubilees, okay? With even and uniform temperature, the whole year through one sows and reaps. The trees are always covered with leaves and flowers and loaded with fruit. The plains, valleys, and woods are full of pastures for cattle. Again, this is the blessing of the Most High's chosen people. And among the herbs are many with remarkable virtues. And the rivers and streams of sweet and many with more remarkable, sweet and crystal clear water. There are various kinds of delicious fish. Its wealth in gold, silver, and other metals is well known. There is abundance of pearls and precious stones, and that's what we would use, right? Stones for the chakras, right? Gold, silver, an abundant land with many resources. Again, those were the resources given to the Most High's chosen people that the other nations have coveted this whole time. So, and there are in the Indies bezier stones, cordials, or aromatic gums, balsam, and other drugs and valuables, so that they lack for nothing. Our people are not supposed to be lacking for anything. We've been given everything. Are these lands what you find in the so-called Middle East? Something to think about. You see? They're always trying to give you another people as being the people. They're trying to give you another people, and they're also give you another land that's the Holy Land, and so they can keep the real Holy Lands in their possessions. The Holy Land has specific characteristics. Our lands are fruitful, and they can take care of its people. They're not dependent upon others to, pretty much subsidize our ways of life. The Most High subsidized everything that we needed. So again, and so they would lack for nothing. And so he settled there, since it was rest for him and very good. The days are of the same length as the nights. For that country lies between the tropics, and it does not have the excessive variations of temperature we experience in Europe with our hot summers and cold winters. And since the land is good, with the advantages and characteristics referred to, the Indians do not like to leave it, and they have no desire to wander in search of new territories, as do we and other nationalities. They have everything that they need. They don't need to go to other lands and take things from them. Again, that goes back to the covenant made with, Noah and Shem, Ham, and Japheth. These other nations have gone and stolen other people's lands, which has now opened up their children to be, cursed. 51. And just as the ass put up his shoulder to the burden, since they have always carried on their shoulders their burdens and products, both in the days of their heathendom and since the Spanish conquest, and there have been great abuses in this matter, right? Okay, the Supreme Council of the Indies, with sainted zeal, passes regulations to remedy them. And although there are some improvements, they are carrying the burdens not to. Hold on here. Okay, we'll keep on. And although there was some improvement, they are carrying the burdens not to stultify the prophecy of the Holy Patriarch. In the days of their heathendom, they were always tribute payers, and that the prophecy may hold in every respect. They keep paying tribute, okay? Though Christians, so that all the peculiarities and characteristics mentioned are possessed by the Indians, without a single one missing. And thus it appears quite certain that the Indians come from the 10 tribes, and in particular from that of Issachar, since they have the qualities mentioned. In addition, their temperament, customs, rites, ceremonies, superstitions, and idolatries are those of the Hebrews. They're done, this in the 1630s. And this book supposedly miraculously disappeared for 300 years. It disappeared while they were enjoying their blessing. But the Most High made sure it reappeared as we were coming to the close of the Gentiles and their reign. And he made sure that this book got into our hands at this time. It says, this truth or statement is supported by the words of Esdras. Okay, and it's talking about second Esdras in the Apocrypha, which they took out because they're trying to hide the fact that the Israelites were already here. It says, which are to the following effect. For you saw thus gathered together another peaceful multitude. Those are the 10 tribes, which were led captive in the days of King Hosea. Okay, and is related to 2 Kings chapter 17 and 18. They're making all these connections with scriptures for you. By Shalmaneser, king of the Assyrians, uprooting and transplanting them from Samaria to other countries, uninhabited and remote. And he took them over to the other side of the river, and they were transferred to another country. And they, seeing they were deprived of their natural home, entered into council to abandon communication with the Gentiles, and departed from there to another distant region, where the human race had never dwelt, to see if there they could keep the law and customs of their ancestors, which they had not kept in their own country. They made their way into some narrow passages of the river Euphrates, where the Most High performed miracles, holding back the current of the river till they had crossed, as he did in the Red Sea, when the same people of Israel went out of Egypt, fleeing from the tyranny of Pharaoh and his Egyptians. For their journey through the region was a very long one, of a year and a half. That region is called Arsareth, and they lived there until a very late period. And we'll get into that also in another video. But I just want to show you, they're talking about the lands, right? And the attributes of the lands, where they're located, how perfect they are, how they, the resources that are there, the foods that are there, they can reap all the time. The hair that all of their things that they do right there, in addition to their temperament, customs, rites, ceremonies, superstitions, and idolatries, are those of the Hebrews. And he's going to tell you, he goes into all these different places, talk about the Yucatan, talks about all that those are the Israelites. Now, see, we were taught that, anyone that says they're this, and that, they're Hebrews, they're Israelites. Look, if you're not pushing this truth, if you're not acknowledging this truth, if you're not chasing after the Most High, if you are not trying to cleave to the Most High's chosen people, if you're not trying to tell the truth, if you're not trying to walk away from the lies, then this is not for you. And then go ahead and go and enjoy whatever time you have left in this kingdom under the blessing, and with your gods, with your menial gods. Because the Most High is restoring his people right in front of you. He's showing you, he's awakened us in the lands of our captivities right in front of you. And it is a wrap. You are not going to continue with the lies. That's why now they're all of a sudden trying to go with these. We got all these ancient scriptures too. We got these other books also. You guys are going to try to make it sound like you've been the ones bringing out this truth, that you've been the ones trying to fill in the holes and fill in the gaps, when you've been guilty of creating huge gaps of understanding. That is what you've been doing, and that's what you continue to do today. This is what you did to our people. You destroyed us as a people. You stole our inheritance. You gave it to others. You stole our lands, gave it to others. You stole our high places and sold them for $75 to an American. And then all of a sudden in 2010, now these lands are important to you again. But they're only important because you're trying to keep us off of our ley lines, which is not going to work. We will get our lands back. We will follow our power. There's nothing you are going to be able to do about it. It is just, it's the tsunami that is here that you will not be able to hold the waters back. And now the time for paying for these actions is upon you. You've taken our great things. You've taken our good things here. You've taken our dainties and you've taken them for yourself. And you've raised yourself up. But like I said, that is very as quickly going to be coming to an end. Because you guys say that these people are white bearded gods. You can't even get this straight. You can't even get your basic colors straight. So it's just showing you how ridiculous your breakdowns have been. And it's all a wrap. It's all coming to an end. Thank you, Most High. And this is just a little, like I said, just a little taste of what is to come. And you're not going to be getting any videos to disprove this information because you can't. Because you already know that this is the truth and there's nothing that you're going to be able to do to stop it. Thank you, Father. Thank you to my earthly mother, the Holy Spirit. Thank you again to my angels for your protection and for your guidance. Thank you again to my ancestors for your prayers, because we are the manifestation of the prayers of our ancestors. Much love, family. Shalom.